Welcome. Uh, one of In this course, what we generally, if you have noticed, like what you generally is learning is soft skills. And one of the most important soft skills that would be most helpful for your career is your writing skill and improving your technical writing skills. And that's basically the objective of this. One of the learning objective of this course is to improve your technical writing, and this is the objective of this lesson. I will just provide you for some guidelines that will help you to improve your technical writing and technical slash academic writing. I wouldn't make a big distinction between them at this point. And basically, what I want you, there is a distinction between academic writing and technical writing, but what I'm expecting from you in this course is not actually academic writing, it's more technical writing. That's academic writing could be a little bit more complicated and they use jargons, which is not a good practice. So my main expectation from you is more like technical writing, yeah? And we will see. So in this lesson, by the end of this lesson, you should understand what does it mean to write cohesively, and you should be able to write cohesively because it's not difficult. What does it mean to write with depth and rigor, and how to integrate sources correctly and persuasively to tell like a persuasive story, and use precise language. So we will also learn about common language mistake. Like again, I will not be like grammar or like spelling police in this course. That's not the objective at all, but the objective is this. I don't care about this. Like there are softwares that you can use to improve and figure out these things, but what I care about is the overall quality of your writing, and that, as I will show you, that has big part of your grade is on this. So please carefully watch this video because you will like learn about the expectations and how you will be uh, graded, like your final proposal this semester and your final report next semester or season will be graded. But also, regardless of grading or anything, these skills will be generally useful for advancing your career, improving your writing skills. Okay. So we've seen already is that this is the research paper, this is the research proposal, these are the component of the research proposal, and I will and each one of these component in the final rubric will be graded. But in addition to this, is I think 20 or 30% of grade, we will check this now, I don't remember, will be based on the quality of your writing. As a quality of your writing, in which part? Everything. In the introduction, in the method, and in the expected results, and even in your references, which you will be put at the end. Okay, and this will go, fortunately or unfortunately, this will continue with you to the project. So the research method, you write the proposal, the project, you will implement the research and write the report. And okay, so you see here 20%, like 20% of the final grade of your proposal, it depend on the cohesive, like it depends on the emphasize like writing quality. So 5 points would be on the cohesiveness of writing, 5 points would be depth, clarity, and rigorousness of writing, 5 points on citation and source integration, and 5 points on language clarity and precision. So let's look at the rubric. So let's open the rubric where you will be graded. And let's also open this example, like because I can show you like this with an example. And I think this example we have seen it before. Yeah. So yeah, let's look at this example. So here, this is your rubric, how it will be grading. So this is integration of course components, that's 15 points. The introduction is 30 points. So that's section one, like different section of your component, 75 points. But 20% of your final grade will emphasize So this focus on core elements of your proposal, this emphasize writing quality. And next semester, like in the project, I think 10% or I don't remember, but something also emphasize the writing quality. So that's very important. Anyway, so if you like, these are the four different criteria. So let's start them one by one. So here, cohesiveness of writing. What cohesiveness of writing? What does this mean? This means that your writing is coherent. It follows a logical order. It tells like a good coherent. You have a good coherent narrative with a good story that you are telling, and the reader is able to follow smoothly through what you are writing. Follow smoothly in each paragraph, starting from the topic sentence to how the paragraph transition to the concluding sentence, and then to the next paragraph, and then to the overall structure of like your introduction and then your method, and how all this is well blended and well integrated together to deliver like a convincing arguments and story. So here this would be like that's so let me tell you, writing is time consuming because you need to think before you write. Like before you write each paragraph, you need to think. Before you write each sequence of paragraph, you need to think. So let's say this is my introduction. Remember what I showed you before? So you'll say, okay, in the first paragraph, I will talk about this general background. In the second paragraph, I will talk about this. In the third paragraph, I will talk about this to tell my story, as we discussed earlier. So you need to design this beforehand. So that's how we write. Like we said, okay, that would be my first paragraph. That would be my second paragraph. That would be my for fifth paragraph. And then you look at it. Is this the logical order? If yes, then you start to proceed writing each paragraph. And how could you proceed writing each paragraph? For each paragraph, you write an effective topic sentence. So the effective topic sentence, this is the sentence at the beginning of your paragraph that introduce the main idea of this paragraph. So let me show you an example. So that is how each paragraph should be structured. It should have like a topic sentence. So a topic sentence is the first sentence of the paragraph. Its job is to introduce the main ideas of this paragraph. That's the job of the topic sentence. And under each topic sentence, you will have an evidence statement. So, and for your writing to be cohesive and to have depth, each paragraph need at least two concrete evidence statement, and then under each evidence statement, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And then at the end of the paragraph, that would be a concluding sentence. What is the concluding sentence? So the concluding sentence, that's the last sentence in the paragraph. Its job is to summarize the main idea of the paragraph. So basically, you kind of have repeat what's some here, but more like as a summary or like as a take-home message. Its job is to summarize the main idea of the paragraph. That's the first job, but its also job is part it concluding its second job is to transition to the next paragraph. So you write this so that you can conclude what you did here and then you transition to the next paragraph. So that is basically effective use of topic sentence. You have a clear topic sentence. Each paragraph has a clear topic sentence supported with evidence statements. So each paragraph need at least two evidence statement, at least two evidence statement, and then clear transition between evidence statements. So these evidence statements, uh, they each one clearly will have a clear transition to the next one, and the logical order of your evidence statement. So the evidence statements that you are making, they are put in logical order. So here, see, this is two evidence statement, like that's a good logical order to put them. So you see that will have part of 10%, and then effective use of the concluding sentence. So that with respect to the each paragraph. Effective use of the concluding sentence and then transition to the next paragraph. The concluding sentence transition smoothly to the next paragraph. So effective use the concluding sentence effectively like provides the take home message of the paragraph, and effectively transition like make a smooth transition to the next paragraph. So this is like 60% of like the cohesiveness of writing. Yeah. What is this? This is the logical order of the paragraph. So the logical order of the paragraph, actually I should have made this number one. So, but it doesn't matter. So, logical order of the paragraph, this means that, as I told you, like before you start writing like your introduction, you will say, okay, in paragraph one, I will write the general context. In paragraph two, I will do this literature review to show this part. In paragraph three, I will use this literature review to this part, and then from here, I will start identifying my literature gap. In the fourth paragraph, I will discuss more like the literature gap and so on. So this logical order of paragraph, yeah. And then we will discuss this later. Let's look at example here, yeah. So this is an example. Uh, so this is like an example here. So let's look uh, at this example here, yeah. So this paper, we talked about this paper before. We are looking at like assessment in the AI, like when students are using AI, how can we assess a student? Yeah. And guess like what would be what would be the logical, like here is there's no one answer, but like the logical sequence that we decided to use here would be that, like, first of all, we will talk about like the opportunities of AI, like why AI is useful and why we want the student to use AI. Yeah, why is this something useful and why we want the student to do this. And so that would be the first paragraph here. What would be the second paragraph? Like, when the student use AI, that has certain risks, that has some certain drawbacks, that has certain things that we need to take into consideration. So what would be the second paragraph about? It would be about like what are these drawbacks. And then now what are we doing? Now we need to find assessment method in order to leverage this opportunity and mitigate this risk. And that would be our third paragraph here. Assessment opportunity. What would be our fourth paragraph? So you see how I'm writing the story. The first paragraph, the pros. The second paragraph, the cons. The third paragraph would be assessment method. What is happening so far? And the fourth paragraph here, that would be the methods that we want to introduce, like the fact method. So that would be the fourth paragraph here. And at the end of this fourth paragraph, I will just put my objective scope and so on and so forth. Yeah. But let's apply what we've learned. So now we have looked how I just make like this order of the paragraph. Like I have like four paragraph, one for pros, one for cons, one for the existing assessment method, and one for our new assessment method. Simple and easy. Yeah. Now let's look here at this rubric. Uh, Effective use of topic sentence. So the first paragraph is about the pros of AI. So integrating artificial intelligence in environmental data science education and science, technology, and engineering mathematics education more broadly, like STEAM education more broadly, is transforming traditional teaching assessment paradigm, offering both the significant opportunities and the challenge. So again, this is just a very general statement, and actually our topic statement, because that's the first statement in this paragraph, so it's very general, but our topic sentence will be more like in the second sentence. That's fine. That's fine. You can use this generalist sentence at the beginning and then use like AI tools such as generative AI and coding assistant enable student to obtain tutoring during. So now here I'm talking about like offering both like significant opportunity and challenges. So now that's I will talk about the opportunities. The challenges will be the next paragraph, but that's fine. I could make this post in one paragraph, but I split it into two. So here AI tool uh, offer. So now I will start to talk about the opportunity. So the opportunity is such as this one, enable the student to obtain tutoring during learning and engage in coding syntax. That's my first evidence statement. And then you provide that, and then you provide blah blah blah. Remember, like you provide like your evidence statement and then commentary. So here, what is my evidence statement here? My evidence statement here is that it provide tutoring during learning and engage complex tasks. and then that would be the blah blah blah. Then what is the second opportunity, or like what is the second advantage of teaching AI for students? AI advancements have potential to provide the student with the skills that help their career. So that's something that they will need for their career. And then so that is the second evidence statement here. That's the second evidence statement here. It provides tutoring, it helps the student career, and then you provide blah blah blah. So blah 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 would be what? Like Google reports that 25% of its new code is AI generated. This underscores the need for computer science and engineering education to shift focus toward higher order skills such as blah blah blah. Okay, so I provided here two advantage for AI. Like the first advantage, the first evidence statement is that it provide tutoring for students, like you have a private tutor. The second thing is that you prepare students for their career. Okay. Now, while AI tools have demonstrated ability to support student learning, like support student learning in programming and computational course, careful integration of AI into STEAM education is necessary. So here, this is my concluding statement. So AI has been provided to be useful for learning, and I just showed why. Uh, but careful integration of AI tool into STEAM education is necessary to avoid diminishing student development and maintaining academic rigor. So now these are things that we need, like the pros. So these are the pros, these are the cons. So here now, what will this second paragraph about? That would be about the cons. So what are these cons? The increasing sophistication of AI to raise concern about over-reliance, the challenges of assessing learning outcomes, and ethical implication. So these are the cons, these are the things that we need to consider. So that is an overview about this paragraph. So what are you going to read in this paragraph? You would expect in this paragraph to read at least three evidence statements. One evidence statement about over-reliance, another evidence statement about assessing how can we assess a student if they are using this tool, and the third evidence statement about ethical implication. And if you read this, that's exactly what you will find here. I'm not going to read this with you, but please read this and then you will see how like you provide evidence statement and then blah blah blah. Evidence statement and then blah 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 and then evidence statement and blah 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 and so on. So, and then here you will find now, therefore, there is a need, like after you present your argument, that would be the concluding statement. Therefore, there is a need for holistic assessment framework that can effectively leverage the AI opportunity and mitigate the AI risk. Now, I am like you see this concluding statement is not only concluding this paragraph, but it's concluding this two paragraph. It's concluding my original statement here about like offering opportunities and risks. So see now how and it's making a beautiful transition to what I will talk about, which is like holistic assessment. And that paragraph will be about holistic assessment. So please read this introduction. That's a good example of how to use like effective topic sentence, concrete evidence, and like a concluding sentence. Okay. So that is this part here. Now, logical order of paragraph, we talked about this. Flow of proposal without need for heading. So that's important. So some student, because their writing lack coherence and cohesiveness and clarity. So what they will do, they will write like a heading. After each paragraph, you'll find the heading. After each paragraph, you'll find the heading. So here, for example, you'll find the heading like pros of AI, and then cons of AI, and then assessment method, because you like this. There is no By the way, there is nothing wrong with putting like heading, but don't do it excessively, not after each paragraph. Like try to do it in a smart way that will help leader to follow through, but not excessively, not after each paragraph you put like a heading. Yeah. So flow of proposal without the need of heading. So that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have heading. Have heading, but have them use them intelligently. Yeah, not after each paragraph. Uh, what is other so that if you did this your writing will be cohesive, but what else makes your writing cohesive other than like topic sentence, concluding sentence, good logical order of paragraph, flow without like the need of heading? You need to understand the relationship among sources, and you need to integrate information from sources. What does understanding the relationship among sources mean? This means, and you can click here, and I have provided like examples that, so please read them. Like I'm not gonna just go in this in detail, but providing information among sources, that means like what one thing you can do, you can say this did this did this, and you just list what has happened. This is not this is not critical writing, yeah, or critical discussion, like, or critical writing. Like, what you need to do, you need to understand the source. You need to say, okay, this study said this, but this other study like contradicts this or integrates this or add to this previous study by doing this additional part. So now you are not just say this did this, but you are providing a critical review where you have a cohesive narrative. Like this study did A and B. Study 1 did A and B. While study 2 contradict like B of the study number 1 and extend A of the study number 1. Now, this is critical review. Now, you are tying this together. Now, so this is how you integrate sources together. This is now how you integrate information from different sources. Integrating information from different sources basically means that you just, so this is how you relate like two or three sources together. This is how you relate all the sources together to write like a cohesive narrative, like a good story. So you see here, this integration of information, you blend sources into your own argument or narrative, while uh, you this is like you blend sources while understanding the relationship among sources. You recognize and articulate how sources relate to each other. While here you blend sources together to tell a good story. Yeah. Okay, now depth, clarity, and rigorousness of writing. And guess what? If you are following this, if each paragraph has like two evidence statements, your writing will be deep. Usually for deep writing, each paragraph should has at least three evidence statements. That would be deep writing. Like deep writing is that you have long paragraph. Like you see here, you don't like you see every paragraph, you don't have any short paragraph. No paragraph here is like 3 sentences or 4 sentences. Each paragraph is at least 7 or 8 sentences. And why 7 or 8 sentences? Because like you need one topic sentence, you need one concluding sentence, you need like two evidence statement, and after each evidence statement you blah blah blah. So that's 8 sentences. And if you did this, if your paragraph has more than two evidence statements, three evidence statements, that would be even better, and that would be longer. So that would be at least like 10 sentences. So that is has to do with depth, clarity, and rigorousness of writing. I'm not gonna go into this like one by one, but like clarity of expression, you need to make sure that what you are writing is clear. That technical writing is not ambiguous. Technical writing is clear. So you make sure that when somebody reads this, he understands what you're doing. There's no room for interpretation. Accuracy, completeness, and accuracy, competence of information. Everything you write need to be evidence-based. Like you see here, everything I'm writing here, I'm supporting it with sources. I'm not writing things without evidence. So technical writing and academic writing is evidence-based. Everything you need to put, you need to support with references. So like you're doing a technical design, and you are saying this should be designed according to this code. You need to reference this code and leave no room for guessing. This code need to be referenced with the exact number, with the exact information. So, and you provide evidence for what you are. We can do this. We can relax this code to incorporate this and this. Like, who said that you can relax this code? If somebody said like you can, if you are making this argument, you should be careful. You should find like a sources that provides that this code can be relaxed in this and this circumstances, and then you provide evidence. You quote this study, you provide like you support your study with evidence. Yeah, so that is important, and this will presence of nonsensical, like if you are providing something without supporting it, that would be nonsensical or misleading. Yeah, so avoid using nonsensical or misleading sentences. Yeah. And everything should be well articulated. Rigor of argumentation, again, if you are doing evidence-based writing and if your argument are well structured and supported by solid evidence, so you see here, this all like different shades of the same thing. But so I want you to carefully read it because I don't want to read this, that would be boring in this video, but I want to carefully reading and see like the different shade, but these are different shade of the same thing. This one here is related to the depth of your writing. If your writing is cohesive, it will be deep by default. And then clarity of expressions is if you are everything you're doing is evidence based and you're not trying to hide anything, you're not trying to cover anything. Because guess what? If you are trying to hide anything and cover anything, the reader will figure it out. And in that case, in your case, in this class, you will lose grade. But if something you don't know in technical writing, you just write this. We don't know this. This is what we know. This is what we are uncertain about, and this is what we don't know. So if something we don't know, you just say we don't know it. Don't hide it. Yeah, that's the essence here. Then you will ensure that your writing will be clear and rigorous. Yeah. And then engage with the relevant literature. Make sure that you are citing all the important literature and you're not missing any key article or any key sources, uh, whether that is for this class or for any technical writing you're doing. Like imagine you're doing a technical writing and you're missing a key code, citing a key code or key regulation or a key policy. That would be a mistake. Yeah. Okay, now let's look here at other. So that has to do with, we covered the cohesiveness of writing, we cover the depth of depth, clarity of writing, and rigorousness of writing. That means like evidence based, not missing the relevant literature. Now let's look at the citation and source integration. So proper citation. Make sure that everything you cite has properly, no plagiarism, no citation is accurate. So follow the citation style, like as I showed you. So like you use AGU citation style. So make sure, see here, like this citation is accurate, the citation is consistent. uh, Paraphrasing versus quoting. So make sure, like if you we academic writing and technical writing, we generally don't paraphrase unless it's something absolutely needed that we need to paraphrase this. We don't quote, we don't make direct quote unless this is like a key paper and like we need to get the exact language, but we generally don't do this. We generally paraphrase everything. And for paraphrasing here, these are, you can direct quote versus paraphrasing, like when to use direct quote and when to paraphrase. You can read this, and this is the source for this information. But generally, avoid direct quoting unless it is something that needs to be directly quoted. Like for example, when Bock said like all models are wrong, but some models are useful. That you don't need to paraphrase. That you can be a direct quote. But other things, other general things, you need to paraphrase and avoid direct quoting. Uh, Use of secondary source, that's another thing. Secondary sources. So here, for example, like you are citing this one, like Jose 2008 mentioned blah blah blah, and then but Jose didn't mention this. He is citing like these two sources. So what? How can you deal with this secondary sources? So there is no obvious way for dealing with secondary sources. Generally, try to avoid secondary sources. If you want to do secondary sources, my recommendations, that's what I do. I will not do secondary sources. I will like go to these two articles, read them by myself, and paraphrase what is there by myself, and mention also what if Jose is mentioning something similar or making the same argument. I will also quote both, like Jose. I would basically quote Jose and this like two sources. But if you want to do like secondary sources, again, if you need to do it in this way, you must verify the sources. You cannot just say like you cannot just trust what Jose did. Like you have to go to these sources and verify them yourself. And then usually when you do second sources, you provide the full citation here. Yeah. So that's why avoid secondary sources. If you cannot avoid it, go to these sources by yourself, read them by yourself, paraphrase the arguments there by yourself, quote these two sources and quote Jose also. Yeah, that would be my suggestion to you if you want to do secondary sources. Style citation adherence. Make sure you adhere to the citation style. Like see here, all the citation style just follows the same style, whether they are cited here or in the reference. So, and that is like 20% of your grade. Completeness of the citation list. Make sure that everything you cite here will be provided in this list, in your reference list. So nothing is missing. So make sure that all the citation, nothing is missing. That's one thing. Accuracy of citation. Make sure that like these citation are accurate. And we've looked in the previous example like how all like the information are there. So you see here the author name, the dates, the title, the journal, the page number. So make sure that these citation are accurate. So that's 40% of your grade actually. Again, in other courses, I'm not going to deduct grade for this thing, but in this courses, because since this is what we are learning in this course, and I want you to be accurate, and I want you to use this software and best practice for using this software and for reference, and that's why I put this number on these things. So it's not like I'm acting like a jerk, but that's what basically I want you to be accurate. And that's okay. Now let's go to language clarity and precision. That's like spelling, grammar, sentence clarity, and so on and so forth. But here also, let's look at other things like sentence length. Yeah. So for the sentence length, like let's read this example. Like, see, this is like a 3-line sentence, and when sentence become long, sometimes they also are long for no reason. They are not clear and they could confuse the reader. So stormwater management is common requirement in land development project. And it is important because land development comes with an increase in impervious area and compacting of permeable underdeveloped area, which can cause issue with low watershed reservoir stormwater. I mean, so complicated. Now, if you divided this, like you can shorten this and divide it into two and improve the structure of the sentence. Yeah. Stormwater management is essential in land development project. Yeah. So now you understand, like the stormwater management is essential in land development project. Development increase impervious surfaces and compact previously permeable area, disturbing how watershed receives and processes stormwater. Very clear. Yeah. Avoid careless mistake. What are careless mistake? One of the common careless mistakes that I see is that like study was conducted. By the way, I collected all these example from grading student project, like from grading student homeworks and proposals. That's how I collected all these examples. So these are actual mistakes the student make. So study was conducted in accordance to WHO guideline. What's WHO? Before you use this acronyms, you need to define, like you need to define, like spell them out the first time you use them. So World Health Organization, and then you put this. Otherwise, that would be a careless mistake. Incorrect or inconsistent terminology, like for example, the survey measure water quality and later questionnaire assessed it. I mean, here survey and questionnaire, these are the same thing. So the survey measure water quality and later the survey assessed it. So this is like, why do you use here? Just use one term consistently to avoid confusion. Typo, for example, the result show is a tactically significant difference. Here, the correct thing should be statistically significant difference, not tactically. Misuse of word. So here, for example, different stakeholders have different perspectives about the meaning of sustainable yield. I mean, here probably the right thing would be different perspectives. Prospective means like future perspectives, while perspectives here means like different opinions. So make sure that you use the right term. Inconsistent formatting, like for example, like you write your methods heading like this and then your results heading like this. There should be consistent. Yeah. Uh, Inconsistent citation style. So you say box and then you put this comma and this is the year said this, and then you said here box without the comma. So you see, you hear that's a careless mistake. The correct would be you use this comma here, you consistently use it here. Numerical error, for example, acceleration due to gravity 98.1 meter per second. That should be 98.1 meter per second square. So make sure You don't have numerical error. Ambiguous pronouns, for example. The researcher interviewed participants, they reported. Who reported? Are the participant reported or the researcher reported? So you should say researcher interviewed participant and researcher reported. Yeah. Now, uh, coordinating conjunction and use of subordinate conjunction. So here, like but, nor, or, and, or so, like for example, this system, but the issue does not appear. This sentence is not grammatically wrong. There's no grammatical error with this. It's grammatically correct, but style-wise, this is not recommended. It's not recommended that you start your sentence with this coordinating conjunction like but, like nor, like or, and so. This is not recommended. So basically, you should use subordinating conjunction like however, in addition. So for example, a better version of this sentence would be however, this issue does not appear. Okay, be succinct and cut the clutter. So for example, as documented in 2011 study by King et al. 2011, 11 word, King et al. Show. That's it. Why do you need as documented in 2011 study by King et al? This, yeah. Tenses in academic writing. So this is a common thing. You use present tense for everything. Past things for things that you have done in the past, like that you have done, like a message that you have completed, for example. Like, so we conducted this in the field using this method. Yeah, we conducted this statistical analysis using this method. So things that you have already conducted. And present perfect used for previous research with findings still relevant. So everything usually in the present, things that you've done in the past, you just write them in the past. Some study have found that girls have significant higher fears than boys after trauma, something like this. So that's present perfect for previous research. Uh, Again, this is not a rule, but whichever you want to use, you need to be consistent. So the most important thing that you need to be consistent. Yeah, like use whatever sentence you want, but as long as you are consistent. Now, this is the most important thing, like technical writing versus creative writing. So again, I'm not going to read this. I want you to read this, but there, like in this class, what we are learning is technical writing, not creative writing. And that is very important to know the difference between technical writing and creative writing. Let's see an example. So this example by one student. So let's read this sentence. The economy gets damaged because Southwest Florida is a destination for tourism. And if tourists cannot go to the beach safely, they don't want to spend the money to travel all the way to Southwest Florida. What's wrong with this sentence? Actually, nothing. It's a beautiful sentence, it's very well written. It is clear, it is nicely, I mean, you enjoy reading it. But unfortunately, it's not suitable for this course because this is not technical writing. This is creative writing. It's a very well sentence, but it's creative writing. You should improve both your creative writing skill and your technical writing skill, and you should know when to use what. Like for a news article, that is might be very good sentence use, but for a technical report or a technical papers, that's not the right sentence use. For technical papers, that's how you would write this sentence. That would be a technical version of it. Red tide in southwest Florida produce pungent odors, degrades scenery, and poses health risk, leading to decline in tourism. And then you provide evidence because you don't know, like, who said this. Like, you need to provide an evidence. Who said that it will provide pungent odors or degrades scenery or pose health risk? You need to provide risk. So this is creative writing, very well written sentence, but not suitable for this class. This is technical writing. That's how you should be writing for this class and for technical writing in general. Yeah. So I will leave this for you to read. And yeah, so that's academic or technical writing style. Yeah. That's academic or technical writing style, and that's the overall event. So let's get back here. So we've looked at this. We looked at this example. You can please read this example. Now, this is your participation activity. So I think I want you to construct the components of any paragraph in the introduction of your proposal. So start by like the topic sentence, write at least two evidence statement and the concluding statement, and then the topic sentence for your next paragraph. So you'll write a topic sentence, two evidence statement for this paragraph, a concluding sentence for this paragraph, and then the topic sentence for this paragraph, and see if you can apply what you learned in this course, yeah, in this lesson, yeah. Uh, Self-edit for clarity. Now, the second task I want you to do, I want you to review at least one of the introduction paragraph, uh, one of the introduction paragraph of your proposal. So write one, like, so you can write this paragraph, write down this paragraph, and go to this like rubric and review. Sorry, here, go to the go to this rubric here and review your proposal according to this rubric and identify some errors in your rubric. So here, this is like the submission requirements that I want you to do. Okay, so that's basically all you can do for, or you can, or you can do for this lesson, and I will like see you in the other lesson. Okay, bye bye.